Good morning. Today I'm starting a new FLP of MCAT exam. The first portion is of biology. In question number one, they ask us in which of the following organism is an acellular. Acellular means that it doesn't have any cells in it. We know that bacteria are unicellular organisms which reproduce by binary fission, whereas viruses cannot survive outside the host. They're acellular. Similarly, prions are also the same category. However, they are infectious, whereas viroids are immature. So the only option is D. Now, in question number two, a common feature of all viruses are that they are oblique intracellular parasites because they only derive whole energy from the host itself. In question three, the correct option will be A. Why? Because a bacteriophage means bacteria eating, and it correctly matches with the statement, and it also has a polyhedral head containing a double stranded DNA. In a question number four, the correct option will be D, integration, because all of the above three options occur in the cytoplasm in which proteins are formed and integration takes place in the nucleus. In question 5, if we correctly remember about photosynthesis, carbon dioxide and water react with each other to form glucose as a byproduct and CO2 is reduced. So the correct option will be A. In question number 6, if we look at the structure of a cell membrane, we say that the cell membrane consists of a hydrophilic head and hydrophobic tails. So the hydrophobic tails are always immersed in the thylakoid membrane, which is green in nature due to the chlorophyll greenish pigment. And question number 7. Now, what is the aim of photosynthesis? It is to synthesize energy. So obviously the ATP will increase. At the same time, the REBP will increase, whereas the PGA will decrease. This is a cycle of the Calvin cycle, and you need to know all the steps in it. In question number 8, we know that the correct option will be D. And I'll tell you why the three are incorrect. Sphygmomanometer is used to calculate pressure underwater. A barometer is used to calculate atmospheric pressure, whereas a calorimeter used to calculate the thermal heat. So in the question number 8, we know that when plants carry out photosynthesis, they only absorb certain amounts of wavelengths of light. For example, they absorb the most wavelength of light at 780 nanometer. This is detected by a spectrophotometer. Now, in question number 9, the correct order of the Kelvin cycle is A. First, carbon is fixated, then it is reduced in photosynthesis, and lastly, there is regeneration of REBP via the Kelvin cycle. In question 10, we need to know the reactants in photosynthesis. So, glucose and oxygen. Oxygen is a major reactant. Without it, glucose cannot be metabolized. In question number 11, they asked which of the following is not a part of the Krebs cycle. Correct answer is D. In question number 12, what we need to understand that why sweat is produced and why it evaporates from our body. So the reason why sweat is produced is that when we feel very hot, when sweat is evaporated, it produces a cooling effect of our body, and thus it is an adaptation to very high temperature. So the correct option will be heat of vaporization. That which property of water is responsible for the ability of sweat to lower body temperature is that the water has a high heat of vaporization. Therefore, sweat is evaporated. Now, in question number 13, you need to know the structural formula of each of the following. Now, maltose is the basic unit, and the other three all are combinations of maltose. For example, glucose and maltose combine to form lactose. Similarly, glucose and fructose combine to form sucrose. The correct option, and similarly, they all have different linkages. For example, sucrose has a 1,6 linkage. So 1,6 means that carbon number 1 and carbon number 6 are linked with each other. In this option, the correct option is A. In question number 14, a triacyl glycerol is a combination of three fatty acids and one glycerol molecule. In question number 13, it is again a repeated question of they asked the linkage between carbon one number 1 and 4, it's maltose. In question number 14, again it's been repeated. A lipid is made up of three fatty acids and one glycerol molecule. In question number 15, when I taught to you teach to you O level chemistry, I taught you how condensation reactions help to produce an amide linkage. And in the condensation reaction, if you remember correctly, a water molecule is being released. So the correct option will be A, and the amide linkage is C double bond O and H2. And question number 16, in the primary structure of proteins, basically, peptide bonds are being formed. In question number 17, the major function of RNA. The major function of RNA is mainly to synthesize protein because it is being transcription and later it is translated with the help of ribosomes to form protein. The most important hexose is a 6 carbon, so it's glucose. Question number 19, talk about globular proteins. Globular proteins are those which are mainly enzymes and have a three-dimensional structure. So the only exception in this is keratin, which is a structural protein. And lastly, question number 20. In question 20, the fluidity of the biological membrane is attributed to the lipid components because we know that the fluidity is because of the hydrophilic nature of the